All right, so you have this in your handouts. It's on the top of page 5. 3 researchers, Isabel Beck, Margaret McEwen, and Linda Kukin, way back, well, it's 2002 is when they first did this research that came from the book called Bringing Words to Life. So they have established a tiering system for words that can help teachers identify what are going to be the most important words to pull from the content we're teaching or from the passage we're teaching. What are going to be the most important words to spend our instructional time on? We have such little instructional time. Where do we get the biggest bang for the buck? So let's talk through this. You see in your chart, these are labeled in 3 sections. The top one is words that I already know. These are what Beck and colleagues call the tier 1 words. And if you want to, you can add on to your notes on your chart at the top of page 5 as we go through this information. So those tier 1 words, they're basic, everyday words. Oftentimes these are the high frequency words, or those what we consider sight words. These are, when we talk in another future session, we're going to talk about morphology and origins of words. These are what often are connected to Anglo-Saxon origin. They're very basic words. Some examples are words like girl, sad, run, dog, green. Very, very basic words, and words that students really pick up from conversation. These are not usually words that we need to explicitly teach. But if you are working with ELLs, these are words that can be problematic. In my follow-up email, I'm going to send, so for any of you that are working with students that are learning English as a second language, I will send some resources out for thinking about how to best support those students. But for our typical learners whose English is their first language, these are not usually words that you have to teach explicitly. We're going to skip over the second tier. Tier 3, these are words that are considered low frequency. Words that don't occur very much in our speech. They don't occur very frequently in text, except in domain-specific text. So these are your words in specific content areas, words that have to do with history or geography or science. Some examples of these words are like mitosis, economics, Revolutionary War. Maybe I'm teaching cooking, so crepe. A crepe might be a tier 3 word. Asphalt. So those words that are specific to a specific need. Those are domain specific words. There are about 400,000 of our English words, about 400,000 fit into that tier 3 category. About 8,000 fit, or pardon me, 8,000 word families fit into that tier 1 category. 8,000 word families. And the tier that we're really, really going to hone in on today is tier 2. These are the words that are high utility. Think high leverage words, because they can be utilized in various contexts and across many different subject areas. They're words that we're often going to see in books. We don't hear as often in speech. Remember, we talked about last time, what we see in books is often much more complex in terms of vocabulary than what we hear in speech. But understanding the meaning of these tier 2 words promotes comprehension, both reading and listening. These are often words that contain multiple meanings. They're important for reading comprehension. They can be used across a variety of environments. So content area teachers, For those of you are really honing in on tier 3 words, but I'm going to ask you to look at tier 2 words in addition, and we'll talk about how to help best support students with those words. Some examples of tier 2 words are a word like masterpiece or fortunate or benevolent, right? Really rich words that you do need to understand in order to understand the text that you're looking at. There are about 7,000 word families that fit into this tier 2 category. And when I say the term word families, I'm thinking of, or I'm talking specifically about, if I were to take the word nation, right? Nation would be a tier 2 word because it also has national and international and multinational. There's a family of words that are connected because they have that base nation. Okay. So tier 2 words and tier 3 words typically are going to require more deliberate effort from us as teachers, but they are vital to the comprehension of the text or the concepts that you're teaching. So we're going to hone in on those. Let's do this with an activity. So take a look at this example, just a very basic example. Here is a sentence. Jose avoided playing the ukulele. If you could choose one word to teach from this sentence, thinking about what we just talked about with tier 1, 2, and 3, being tier 2 words are the ones we really want to hone in on because they can be applied across many different contexts. Which word would you choose to teach? Will you put that into the chat box, please? Oh, Patricia's on it. Yes, avoided, right? Now, I have to tell you, before I knew, thanks everybody, you got it. Wonderful. Before I knew anything about tiers of words, I probably would have chosen ukulele because I think this is a foreign concept for my students. It is a word that I might be able to tell them in a very brief way what it means in order for them to understand the sentence. Ukulele is a musical instrument that looks somewhat like a small guitar, but I don't have to teach it to the level like we saw Dr. Archer do with the word discard, right? I don't have to teach it to a level 4. In fact, the last time I heard the word ukulele was when I did this training previously. So we're not exposed to that word. It's one of those tier 3 words, unless I am teaching musical instruments or the study of music. I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time on that word. Okay. All right, let's take a look at some other examples of words. You have these words sort of in the very middle of page 5. What I'd like for you to do is take a look at all those words, starting with the word binary. And you are going to tier them. You're going to put them either into a tier 2 or a tier 3 on your chart, your 2-column chart here on page 5. So be thinking about what are the words that can be used across multiple contexts. What are those words that might be part of another family of words? Those words that might have multiple meanings. So you're going to go ahead and go through that list, and I'll have you work with a partner to do this.